And good evening, everyone, and welcome back out to Quebedeaux on a Sunday evening, and that can only mean one thing. It's time to dive into the most expertise knowledge that you'll – well, actually, it's time to talk to us for, but where do you go? My man Rich Dupree is back with us after a little reprieve last week. Nathan was in here, and I'll tell you a little story about Nathan before we go on, but glad to have you back in here.
Thank you. We're not going to be diving into food? No?
No, we're not diving into food.
Well, I figured a restaurant.
And welcome out, everyone. It is Sunday night, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for Coach Speak here at Quebedeaux. I am Doug Gann, along with our panel of experts. Anyway, got my guys here now. You're going to find out things that the coaches wouldn't tell you. That's why we named it Coach Speak, is because in those post-game interviews, a lot of times that's all that you'll hear. But we dig in a little bit deeper. Glad to have my broadcast partner for a lot of years, Rich Dupree, back by my side. Rich, welcome back.
Good to be here. Good to be at Quebedeaux. Anytime we're at Quebedeaux, it's good to be here. But
absolutely it is. Did you get a chance to eat beforehand? I didn't. You didn't get into the food?
I did not.
Right.
The menu wasn't open when I got here, so I don't know what the deal is. So,
there you have it. The best part of the Menard broadcast. John Wolf joins us here. No offense.
Absolutely.
Happy birthday to Tom Boucher, by the way.
Yes.
Tom is out on assignment, I guess you'll say. He's not here. He's up in New York, I believe, is where he's at. And isn't it today his birthday, I believe?
He's getting back tonight.
Is he? He's coming back tonight, though. So he's
Medicare eligible now, right?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
You can take those flights when you get that big senior citizen discount.
Right. So, there you have it. Wow, y'all just got on Tom right away. I wish him happy birthday. And next thing you know, he's signing up for AARP and such.
Had no part in that.
Goodness. And, of course, Billy French joins us there, the voice of the Tioga Indians. So, Billy, welcome out. You guys had a big one this week again.
Yeah, we had a good week. Of course, it was a Thursday night ball game, so I got to actually sit down Friday night and watch Pineville and West Monroe and Ash and Ruston.
Well, that Ash, yeah, we'll get into that. My goodness, what a game! I'm still don't know that I've recovered from that broadcast. That was a difficult ride home on that one, but it certainly is good to be in those type of games. That's what you do. We'll hear from our man Brett McCormick a little later on. Got to talk to him down on the sideline. He was there taking pictures up in Ruston at that game, and a lot of great photos to come out of there. 1T Photography. Found out where that come from. It took me this long to realize where he had it. He's only got 1T in his name. It's BRET, so therefore it's 1T. I said, good thing you didn't have two, because then you'd be Tootie Photography. And he said, no, Doug, that's not.
And that's our show, everybody.
That's what.
See you next week.
So anyway, that's how you do it. But he said, no, we're not going to do that at all. Tough week for our panel tonight, except for that end, they pick up a couple of wins. But I don't think that you guys would. They were blowout wins, and we'll start with John Wolf and tell us a little bit about that Menard game.
Yeah, so we went down to Pickering Friday night, and then Pickering being Pickering, it was rough on them, but it was 14-0 before our offense got out there and had their first series. We opened the game up with a 71-yard kickoff return, and then Pickering's first series, we backed them up and had a fumble recovery in the end zone, and it was kind of touchdown by committee after that the rest of the night and running the clock early, and got a lot of JV and younger guys in the game, and it was a good night for the Eagles. We walk away, no injuries. So getting ready for a big one.
That's what you certainly want to see. We were out there Wednesday night at Wildwood Pizza for the coaches show, the Eagles Nest coaches show, and a lot of folks were out there, and they were excited about that one. Of course, a big matchup that we'll talk about is coming up at don't let the record fool you, but a 1-5 Avoyelles Mustang team that could very well be for the district title. Yeah,
with what Avoyelles is bringing in, you look at their schedule that they've played and the teams, and it's going to be a tough game, and looking forward to a good matchup Thursday night.
Well, it should be fun. You guys will be back out at Wildwood Pizza on Wednesday night. Tom will be back in town, and he'll be able to take them through that.
Yep, Coach Perkins, Coach Scully will be out there, and we'll get Tom back on the show.
Indeed, they will. We'll jump over to Tioga, and this is, again, it's like golf. That if they win, they get the honors, Rich. So you and I, it'll be a little bit before you and I get to talk football.
Is that why I'm sitting by you?
I think so. We that's what we flip flop on the tables. That's what
asking for a friend.
Billy sets up where we get to sit, and he said, "Well, that's the winner's table that's down there." Billy joins us for that Tioga matchup, and one of those games, Billy, that. You probably don't look forward to seeing on the schedule next year again in a way that it doesn't really get a good test out of your guys. But tell us a little bit about that trip that you guys had.
Yeah, pretty much the only benefit a game like this. Of course, Pine Prairie coming in had a lot of kids quit the week of.
Right.
Had some issues with the coaching staff. A lot of stuff was our younger guys got a lot of reps. Kickoff, of course, I'd said pregame, you're not going to see a whole lot of the starters, especially the senior class. Jacorian talked his way onto the field for the opening kickoff, and we talked about it last week. And they kicked it right at him, Doug.
Oh, we told him, and I even took the glasses off and looked deep into the camera, and this is cool. Watch this, Rich. See. I take the glasses off, and it zooms in like that. Isn't that cool?
But can you see?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not in the slightest. But I'm going to issue this PSA to everyone again that watched that. I said last week on the show, whatever you do, find out where one is. Don't kick it to him. Don't punt it to him. Don't throw it to him. Heck, don't go anywhere near him because he's going to end up taking it to the house. And what happened on the very first play?
Opening kickoff, right to Jacorian North, 75-yard return for a touchdown.
Wow.
Only time he was on the field, never stepped foot again on the field the rest of the night. That was his only day, and he talked his way in to get to that, to do that. And it wasn't him like on the left side and he ran to the right side to catch the ball. No, he was in the middle and they kicked it right at him. And, again, that happened, of course. And then Josh Lloyd had a 20-yard touchdown from Case Malone, who had a really good night Thursday night. We had a 30-yard rushing touchdown from Travis Adams. Champion comes in there, forces a fumble, an 8-yard rushing touchdown by Travis Adams. Case had a beautiful, beautiful pass to Ryan Reeves, which I even predicted it, and Chuck, our producer behind the scenes, will even tell you during the broadcast, I had just said I'd love to see Ryan Reeves catch one because he plays that tight end, that kind of that flex spot, more like a fullback, and he never gets a lot of looks because he's normally just making holes for Travis Adams.
Right.
Well, this time here, he catches one down the seam, just beautiful, runs it in for a long touchdown pass. Then, we had another rushing touchdown, and then we brought in, of course, we had third stringers in by the second quarter, mixing it in. And I love what Cook does because Case Malone is our sophomore quarterback. He played most of the first, second, and third quarter. Didn't put himself in any position to get hurt or anything, but he kind of getting those reps in as a sophomore. Never ran the ball very often. He can do that read option, but he didn't. And Tioga just seemed to have their way. Then we got to see a lot of our freshmen and JV come in there in that third quarter, and Tioga shuts them out. Pine Prairie 49-0. Had a really, really good night. Of course, the fans were pumped up. Tioga travels very, very well. Very hospitable in Pine Prairie. Of course, those people, and you could tell that they've been shut out now 3 times. That
right.
Pine Prairie team, when they get a first down, that whole place would explode. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
They're striving, they're looking for some type of, and they just had some unluck this year with a lot of players quitting.
Well, look forward to more success out of Pine Prairie down the road. You said that your tight end caught a touchdown pass in that one,
Ryan
Reeves, yeah. Ash never throws to. They don't throw to the tight ends. Ash never throws to their tight ends at all in there. Rich, tell us a little bit about the West Monroe Pineville game this week. It was a case of it's always been a big West Monroe. I mean, they won't even they pay and get the contract where everybody you travel to West Monroe all the time because of all the money that they have and the facilities that they have. But I appreciate Coach Bell stepping up and saying, you know what, we're coming down to Sandy Canyon.
Well, in that you also have to remember that Coach Bell is a West Monroe alum,
right.
And so a lot of connections there. And when we go up there to play, it's kind of like going home for him. Obviously, some of the staff has changed, but still, that's his alma mater. But he was determined that. Unlike some of his predecessors that took the pay and went up there and played, he wanted West Monroe here and give us 6 home games this year, which is great because we only had 4 last year in the second year of these home and home schedules and everything. But it's, the Rebels of West Monroe came in and, they stand from the 10-yard line to the 10-yard line during the national anthem. You see how many players are on the team. Obviously a lot of talent there. They have a big area to recruit from. So they're a big-time program. But, Pineville came out and I tell you that the final score was 31-0. But I know Coach Bell is tired of some of these, moral victories in some ways.
Right.
It was 24-0 at half, and Pineville only gave up 1 score in the second half. I can go ahead and tell you that our player of the week will come from the defensive side of the football with some numbers that we'll share with you in just a minute when we make that announcement. But another stat that we were talking about before we came on the air was something Coach Bell shared with us after the game, was that Pineville had 12 passes that were dropped out of the 16 that was thrown by Jalen Whitty. 12 passes that were in the hands, or the hands were on the football, that would have accounted for 174 yards before contact, and those passes were dropped. Ultimately, he only completed 3. But there was some opportunities there offensively against West Monroe. And if the offense, could have done that, the defense was stopping West Monroe. They forced 4 West Monroe turnovers in the game. Goodness. And so, again, there were opportunities there that Pineville could not take advantage of. But at the same time, the sophomore running back that we have in Aiden Tate, again, stepped up and showed out in the game. He had 114 yards on 24 carries against that West Monroe defense. And, just bring those passes in. And again, it's a young receiving core. 3 of the 4 receivers are playing, are starting for the first time with Pineville and with a senior quarterback that can rifle the ball. The 3 passes that were completed were each 2 for 14 yards and 1 for 12. So, I mean, he was getting the ball in there. Unfortunately, final score 31-0. Could have been worse, should have been much better.
We looked at the scores. It came across and saw that 7-0 into the second quarter. And anybody that's been around these West Monroe games knows, and whether they're playing Ash, whether they're playing Pineville, whoever it is, it seems like they'll put a little flurry on and go from a tight game to one that's spread out. And we're watching the ticker and seeing the scroll, thanks to Sadler's Towing, that it's 7-0 on their end of the second quarter. And it's like, well, wait a minute, here we go.
Their senior quarterback, Hayden Federico, had one 80-yard bomb that, we blew the coverage on. But other than that, it was sustained drives down the field that ultimately they would be able to punch it in. Federico took one in himself from 14 yards out. But maybe it's not the same West Monroe team, or maybe Pineville, as the season has gotten better, came along, has gotten better, and we really feel that's the case. And so we go to Ruston next week, and we'll see where we stack up against one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the state.
One of the greatest football atmospheres is that Ruston campus, the sunken bowl type of a stadium. The press box is a little bit newer. The windows don't open, and there's tent about halfway down it, so you'll have to battle with that. That's why our picture looks so bad on it. But they still have the homemade chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, good.
That
okay,
are
good,
phenomenal.
Good.
I told Nick and Brett about it the whole way up there, and they were excited. And the guy comes in with them in the shoebox and the homemade, and they were great. And Chuck, sorry, buddy, they didn't have those in Pine Prairie.
Yeah, no, we had cracklings though.
Yeah, I'm certain that you did. Don't forget our friends at Buckeye with their big 67-0 Squirrel Bowl victory. I was able to talk to Coach Ben McLaughlin on the way out there. Buckeye, one of the teams that we cover as well, and he said it was just it was a great night for them, and they're looking forward to it. It's going to be as tough a district as you'll find because they're in that same district with Gina and those guys, and so. But congratulations to Coach Ben and that group from
winning
Buckeye.
The Squirrel Bowl.
Winning the Squirrel Bowl, and he before he went there didn't know anything about the Squirrel Bowl, but now he's happy to have that victory on there, and so congratulations to Coach Ben McLaughlin and that group from Buckeye.
Doug, tell us a little bit about your ball game. You always seem to ask about everybody else, but we'd like to hear a little bit about yours.
So Alexandria made the trip, thank you, Billy, up to Ruston this week, and it was just one of those things. It's great to be down on the field prior to the game. I told you a little earlier, was able to talk to Brett McCormick up there, but got to go over and talk to Coach Jared Ball as these guys were talking with Coach Bachman before the game. Just a class act, and the respect that they have for each other is phenomenal. Met Jared's brother, Dean, actually. He works for Louisiana Economic Development at a conference that I was at. So you see that Ball name from Monroe. There's got to be a connection in there somewhere. But and then this big fella comes up to him, and of course everybody knows that's Kyle Williams, that is their defensive coordinator, former Tiger, and spent about 13 years in the NFL.
Buffalo Bills, yep.
Yeah, and just a solid guy. Was able to talk to Coach Todd Garvin. We know the story of him from West Monroe, or moving from Ouachita to West Monroe and back over there. So it's just great atmosphere. The press box, one of the most friendliest. They have a press box hostess, and she makes sure that you've got your food, got everything, and oh, by the way, we have to call a game with all of that going on. And Ruston jumps out on top, 21-0. It was one of those games that just they jumped out. Very first play, they win the toss and elect to defer, so they're kicking off. They get the onside kick. And these two coaches just battle with each other. Go down there, get the touchdown. And it's 21-0 before the half. Ash just not really able to put anything together. Halftime comes out, and you're worried about it because, as we had said, Ruston gets the ball to start the second half. Ash was able to hold him to a punt, and they go down and get their first touchdown of the game. And you'll see that a little later on, not to give some foreshadowing, but you remember the guy from the Giants in the Super Bowl that catches one off the helmet from Eli. That's about the same way that it happened, got it and goes to the house on a 68-yard touchdown pass. Then Ash comes out with an onside kick and recovers it and goes down and scores. And then Ash comes out with an onside kick, he covers it, and before the third quarter's up, it's 21-21. And the battle is on, and it got a call from a couple of people that said they turned it off at halftime. Cannot do that in an Ash-Ruston game because something magical is going to happen. Ruston goes down, makes it 28-21, and yes, sir.
Well, thanks to Sadler's Towing, I didn't have an option. I actually turned it on after I saw that y'all got to 21-21. So, I pulled out my other phone since I have to carry two.
Right.
And so we had that. But, yeah, I'm like you guys. I'm seeing 21-0 at half, and we're down 24-0 at half and everything. But then I'm watching the Sadler's Towing ticker at the bottom, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. It's, and so I got the other phone out, so I got to watch you guys.
See, there you go. And it was one of those. And so Ruston comes back, and they go down, make it 28-21. We're into the fourth quarter. Ash comes back. They get down and score. It's 28-28. Ash holds Ruston, makes a punt. There's about 5 minutes to go in the game. Ash tries to take a shot down the field. Feaster is hit as he's throwing the ball, but throws it into double coverage, trying to go for all of it, and it's picked off. And Ruston does what Ruston does. They methodically go down the field, score the touchdown. As a matter of fact, Ash on probably second or third down, I don't remember what it was, and we talked about in the press box, you got to let him score because that's the only chance you have to get the ball back. Otherwise, they bleed it down and get the field goal. He does. He scores there, and Ash has a few shots at it. But I'm telling you, Ruston amped up the pressure. Ash had a chance to tie it up, and we already started talking about, hey, I'd tell you Bachman's going to go for two. Bachman's going to go for two. Never got the opportunity. Didn't materialize. But Ruston understood that Alexandria, despite having a 3-2 record and being ranked low in the power ratings, is going to be a team that makes a big difference in the playoffs.
Sure.
So,
Ruston, of course, improved to 6-0, and they are, when the Sports Writers poll comes out, they'll be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the state, but they were on the ropes last Friday night.
Ash's 3 losses this year to St. Thomas More. Don't have a loss on their schedule. One of the greatest quarterbacks in the state, Sam Altman. Karen Crow doesn't have a loss. Chance Babineau, one of the greatest athletes that you'll see, as a junior, already has an offer sophomore. Already has an offer from Michigan. That's correct. And oh, by the way, Josh Brantley, who all he does is go 6'3", 225 as a junior. And you know the offense at West Monroe and those guys like to run. They'll get and duck down behind the center and run their offense out of there. Imagine this guy 6'3", ducking down on there. Still, his chest is sticking up over the center on there. But Trojans were ready for the option. They weren't able to run that, but it just was one of those games. And, man, it was a lot of fun to be a part of those, and spoke to Coach Bachman after the game, and he was mad at himself for taking the shot down the field. He said, Doug, we should have just methodically went down there. But the momentum's there. You like to go. You had been hitting it early, but Ruston had dialed up the pressure, and that caused Feaster to throw that INT.
Yeah, I was yelling at my fiance. I was watching it at the house because, of course, we played Thursday night, so I was swapping back between both of y'all's games. And I hollered at Tamara. I said, hey, Tamara, they onside kicked and got it back twice. And she said, what's an onside kick? But I was yelling.
Yeah, and so Nick says this is why I'm not in coaching anymore, because I never would have went for the first onside kick, and I never would have went for the second one for sure. But you talk to Coach Bachman, and if he's going to go for win, he may lose a game, get blown out of one, but he's not going to stop trying to get the ball back and go down and score. And that just goes to show you there were a lot of D1 talent on there. The 2 linebackers, 22 and 21. That's you'll call them a lot next week when you look at that game. They've got it's the size that Ruston has is like teams I've not seen before. It's just a lot of it. We'll talk to Brett a little while later and get his thoughts on that. But they're big. They're big, and they're fast, and they're long, and they're athletic. So look forward to that next week.
I'm looking forward to it, and we want you to look forward, because coming up,
oh, yeah, we'll have our Southern Air. What are we having? Our Southern Air what?
Our Southern Air Cool Play of the Game.
There we go. We'll also announce our Quebedeaux Players of the Week. Going to take our first break. We'll do all of that when we come back. You are watching Coach Speak right here on 446 Sports.
Wherever you are, you're there for a reason. You shouldn't have to make a trip to the branch to deposit a check. Skip the trip and use our mobile app to easily and securely deposit checks right from your phone. Day or night, wherever you are, or whatever you're doing. Download our mobile app today.
I'm Jason Hawk with Farm Bureau Insurance. Did you know that September is Life Insurance Awareness Month? Our team is here to educate about life insurance and help you make the right coverage choices with the right agent this month and every month. Taking care of your family can be simple and something you can do today. There's no better time than now to learn how life insurance can protect your family's financial security. So talk to Hawk at 318-791-HAWK or online at talktohawk.com and let us help you protect what matters most.
And we are back. Second segment here. Great stories on the games. Haven't even got into what's coming up next. But to shut things down on week 6, opening week of district for a lot of us, we'll go back and look at our Southern Air Cool Play of the Game. And a big thanks to the folks at Southern Air Heating and Cooling for there, and plumbing, and they do a lot of things on there. Big shout out to those guys for doing that. And of course, we'll name our Quebedeaux Players of the Week. But Billy, start us off on your Southern Air Heating and Cooling Cool Play of the Game.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit on the first segment. One of the plays that Case Malone throwing the ball to our tight end Ryan Reeves, getting his first touchdown catch of the year as about a 50-yarder, which Chuck will pull up here and you'll get to see. It's going to be towards the bottom of your screen, if I remember correctly. And you're going to see Case just chunk it, and just a beautiful touch, just right over and catches it, and then swivels and gone. And it's just a.
And he's a tight end.
He's a tight end.
Ash never throws the tight ends.
He's caught the ball every time we've thrown it to him this year. And
right.
He's only got about 5 catches, but this is one that's not just for a first down. He actually has some room to maneuver, and this is a guy that we didn't even know he was going to play football on Tioga until right before the season kicked off. He decided he was going to play. So we were really, really lucky to have Ryan Reeves as a tight end, and that is our Southern Air Cool Play of the Game.
Let's take a look at it then. Chuck, if you got that.
Yeah, he ran it.
Did he? When I wasn't looking. Well, there you go. That's it.
Here's your glasses. Tom.
Right, no kidding. Well, I don't think it shows up. Well, maybe it does. Anyway, we'll move over to Menard and John Wolf.
Yeah, so Menard, coming out for the opening kickoff, we had some late subs coming for that opening kickoff, and we got the 11 out there, and they decided to kick it to the up-back, Wyatt Hayward, who's a freshman, and Wyatt decides to take it 71 yards up the middle and hits the left sideline and takes it to the house for a 7-0 lead. And that really sets the theme of the game when he took it 71 yards.
You see the kickoff and the catch there on your screen as you're watching it, and he's making his way 71 yards.
Yeah, 71 yards. And then I also have to say with Wyatt, he follows it up with another touchdown after that. He recovers the ball in the end zone to go up 2 scores.
14-0 before your offense gets on the field.
Freshman.
Wow, there you go. That is our Menard Southern Air Cool Play of the Game, and working our way down. And it's a snake draft, so we'll work our way this way, and then Rich, you'll be able to start with the Player of the Week when we go back the other way. How about that? Unlike that other league.
Deal.
Right. For Ash, this was the play that got the Trojans on the scoreboard there in the third quarter, and this was one of those we told you it was reminiscent of. Who was it for the Giants that made that catch?
David Tyreek.
There you go. I almost said Tyreek Hill. David Tyreek that catches it off the helmet. You don't see it on the screen, but Ty Feaster has to scramble around, and he's back. He rolls to the right, throws the ball up, and that's when it goes off screen a little bit. But you'll see Jalen Johnson pull it off of the helmet, and he takes it another 30 yards after the catch. And that got the Trojans set up for one of 2 successful onside kicks. Jalen Johnson, a wide receiver. Trojans don't throw the ball to their tight end. That is your Ash Trojan Southern Air Cool Play of the game. Rich, what do you have for Pineville?
So for Pineville, we go back to the talented sophomore linebacker that is now playing is our starting tailback in Aiden Tate. He had 24 carries for 114 yards. This was a play that took us from about the 40 down around the left side toward Pineville High School, and Aiden was able to break a couple of tackles around that left side and got all the way down to the 6, and where he went out of bounds. And it was 2 different times that Pineville was inside the 10, inside the red zone, and just was not able to put the ball into the end zone. But Aiden Tate with a great block from Sebastian Mollett as he moved from right side to left side, broke several West Monroe tackles on his way down to the 6, and that is our Southern Air Cool Play of the game.
If we can ever get a camera in here facing this way, you'll see
This is the greatest
the
game
way
of
that,
charades
the
I've
way
ever
Chuck
played.
describes these things to us, because had a malfunction after that show we did Wednesday night. and so we don't see it on our monitor. But I've relived every bit of the play. I even saw when he got out of bounds from the way Chuck did.
Yes, he fell over. Yeah, I was
He
like,
did.
wow.
So big congratulations or appreciation to Southern Air Heating and Cooling. Those folks there doing a fantastic job.
Big new office in Pineville.
Yeah, absolutely. And their newest employee starts over there Monday after a couple of years, and their Natchitoches store comes back there. So hello, Noah Gann coming back to town.
They hired again.
See, again and again. Anyway, so now, Chuck, that's what you get, Chuck. I think you've got the Buckeye Cool Play of the game, and I don't know. We'll be able to hear this one. Okay.
Well,
there. They'll pitch it. Quarterback was going to throw it, and he still wants to. Signaling somebody come open, and it's a Panther that comes open. Complete 25-10, 5 touchdown. There's a pick 6 for Cameron Burns.
well,
So, as we're getting that ready to go on there, Chuck, I don't know what. Huh?
No, we
we
don't
couldn't
hear
hear it.
it. Yeah.
Did it show and play? Okay, well then
Oh,
never
okay.
mind. Disregard. So you didn't see any of this then. So we'll stay down on this end of it with Pineville, and we'll look at your Quebedeaux Player of the Week.
so for that, we looked at a couple of Pineville Rebel players. We looked, of course, at Aiden Tate, who had 24 carries for 114 yards. We looked at our punter, who had to punt the ball half dozen times and got some good line drive kicks that kept West Monroe from returning the ball and bounced, and the Rebels were able to down it multiple times inside the 30. But ultimately, as we talked about in the beginning of the show, the defense of the Pineville Rebels, and there were a couple of young men that really stood out for Pineville and really played big. When you looked at Ty Sanders with a big sack, Federico, you look at a young man that also we're calling a lot more of, LaMarcus Thiers, who had 4 tackles and 4 assists. But Jacob Miranda is the young man that you see on your screen. Jacob Miranda, he had 10 tackles and 3 assists on the game. Number 2 was all over the field, and we, of course, want to recognize him. I believe this is the second time this season that Jacob Miranda, so he gets 2 tickets to the Quebedeaux end of the season opportunity, where we'll bring all of our players from each week, from each of our schools, to come and enjoy a great meal here,
Right.
enjoy fellowship with the other athletes of the week from each of our respective schools.
Have
and,
the coaches in here,
yeah.
have some families, and it's just going to be a big night at Quebedeaux.
And we will select, ultimately.
Yes, our Quebedeaux Player of the Year.
Yeah, from
certainly.
that, so.
We'll name one from each of the schools. All 5 of our schools will have a Player of the Year.
Very good.
And then we will, as a panel, vote on our Player of the Year for Quebedeaux. So, and it encompasses a little bit more than just stats. It'll be character. It'll be different things like that.
Sure.
A well-rounded, what you would anticipate from a Quebedeaux Player of the Year is what it will be. For the Trojans of Alexandria, young man, he grew up a lot. Ty Feaster, and you hate to say that a quarterback is growing up as a senior, but each week he has progressed and gotten a lot better. Ran the ball a lot more, really kept the Trojans in this one. Had 3 touchdown passes on the game, or all 4 of them were into the air. You see Ty on the screen right now. 2 of those touchdown passes were to Tanner Townsend, our tight end.
I was going to say,
so, how about that? That is 3 touchdown receptions for Tanner Townsend this year. A lot of that throwback stuff. So it was a play that was very reminiscent of 2020 up in Northwestern, where they throw back to the big tight end. A lot of you remember that. There was a false start. Made the 2-point conversion no good, and Trojans going to not win the state championship that year. But I digress. So there you go. Ty Feaster, who is the second time he's got his name called on our Quebedeaux Player of the Week. Congratulations. Great game, Ty Feaster. To John.
Menard, Player
Yes.
of the Week. So like I said earlier, it was touchdown by committee. Wyatt Hayward had 2 scores to open the game up, the kickoff return and the recovery. We had Jordan Rich got a touchdown pass from Jake Vaughn. Jake Vaughn ran one in. We even had our backup quarterback, Matthew Hicks, threw a touchdown pass to Cutter Knowles. But our player of the week is number 13, sophomore Aiden Moran, our running back. He only had 4 touches on the night, but he had 55 yards and a touchdown. And he broke one to the left side, broke about 5 tackles. We thought he had about a 10-yard gain. Next thing you know, it's a 31-yard touchdown run. So Aiden Moran, number 13, sophomore from Menard, is our player of the week.
There you have it. Congratulations to Aiden Moran. Billy.
Yeah, so this time it's not Jacorian North. I mean, you know, we've pretty much been like this all
He
year
played
long.
one play. He's only played the whole
Well,
night.
The young man that got it this week, he didn't play very much either, but when he was in there, he was pretty effective. Number 15 on his jersey, he's number 1 in his mom Lacey's heart. It's Mr. Case Malone here. Case went 3 for 4 for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns. Didn't need him to do much, but when we did early on, he was lights out. Very, very pinpoint accuracy. That's one of his best games throwing. Of course, all season long, we haven't really needed him to. He's done a good job with the read option when we needed him to. But for the sophomore, number 15, Case Malone, where, like I said, 2 touchdowns, and he only had to throw the ball 4 times. So he is our Quebedeaux Player of the Week.
Yeah, just a great performance by Case Malone. Again, you get it only throwing the ball. Buckeye, I think, Chuck, you'll have that up, and you'll have to tell me, but I got to believe that we know who it is. Then I did not know.
And you were wrong.
who it was. So congratulations to Jesse Stanley. I don't know if I have that stat in front of me, what Jesse got in there for.
I can tell you here in just a second, hopefully. There's
Nothing like being absolutely prepared like I am.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll jump on over here to, a jumbled up one. Nevertheless, congratulations on that. That young man, you saw the Buckeye Cool Play of the Week, and you saw their Player of the Week. So congratulations. Another one, a stat on Jim Burlew. It's our Jim Burlew update on there. Only carried the ball 5 times on that night. I'll have to talk to Coach Ben. Didn't get the ball to him very often. Of course, it was 67-0. Only rushed for 33 yards on the night. 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns, 5 carries. So, Jim, I say it in jest, a tremendous job. And you know that he played some defense on there as well. So that's our Jim Burlew update.
18 touchdowns, by the way.
18 touchdowns on the season. One of those defensively, I believe. 19 total then. There you have that. So great work by everyone involved, and congratulations to all of those. Going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get a little chalk talk going on. We'll look ahead to what's coming up next week. We'll see the standings that are out here on us. We'll get Brett McCormick in and visit with him to see what his thoughts are on the game that he watched. So just a lot of great things. Don't go anywhere. You are watching Coach Speak right here live from Quebedeaux on 446 Sports.
Is your vision just not as crisp and clear as it used to be? Are you having difficulty driving, especially at night? Are you over 40 and now needing reading glasses? If so, the trusted eye care team at Wallace Eye Associates is here to help with your family's eye care needs, just like we have been for nearly 40 years. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
BK Distributors is proud to support high school athletics on 446 Sports. BK is the one-stop shop for trophies, banners, awards, letter jackets, and just about anything award-related. And now, welcome BK Apparel and BK Promotions to the family for all your spirit apparel needs and anything you need to brand your business. When you think of anything you need with your name on it, think BK. Check them out on Facebook or at bkdistrib.com. BK Distributors, Apparel and Promotions in Pineville.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Harrell, Certified Residential Appraiser. I am currently a leading provider of appraisal services for mortgage lending, employee relocation, estate planning, and community property settlements. My experience in real estate over the past 13 years and currently serving as president of the Greater Central Louisiana Realtors Association has given me a clear understanding of the real estate world and the ever-changing market we live in today. For any of your valuation needs, give me, Kimberly Harrell, a call.
Time for our red, white, and cool summer event at Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Right now, you can save on a new energy saving system. No money down, 0% interest, and no payments till June 2024. Call Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing or visit us online.
Welcome back to Quebedeaux. Don't even know who Mike is, but Chuck's fond of him, as always. So, Brett McCormick joins us here. He follows a lot. That's one of those off-the-air commercials.
How long have you been waiting for that one, buddy?
Long time. Long time been waiting on that. Chuck gives us the cue beforehand so we don't say anything foolish on the air, and he tells us every time we come.
Did?
Just like that. Mike, see, he always mute me now and then. So anyway, just like that.
Well,
there you go. Brett McCormick joins us. Brett, it seems like you're at every single football game there is. How else do you come up with all the information that you do?
Well, I'm thankfully this week I was able to actually be at 2, but no, it's a lot of late nights going back and watching the live stream on YouTube. Actually watched 6 games this week because Peabody Neville was streamed, and I wanted to go watch that one too. So, just putting in the time, and I love it. So it's a lot of fun.
And you're able to double dip it because you're up there taking pictures of it, and then you go back and you're not having to cover that game while you're out there.
Correct. That's why the resource that you guys have is so valuable for me, because of the scrimmage week I was trying to take stats and take pictures, and it just
didn't
impossible.
Work.
Yeah, it wasn't going to happen. So I utilize 446 Sports every single week.
Well, Brett McCormick is our unofficial statologist there. Tell me what's jumped out of you, jumped out the first half of the season. What do you around here, the teams that you see and potential deep runs?
Well, the biggest one this week was Ash finally, that's the Ash team I've been expecting to see, especially you mentioned the senior quarterback kind of growing up. But, there was going to be an adjustment. He was a starter at a 1A school at Glenbrook, and moving from 1A to 5A, there's an adjustment, especially against the teams that Ash has played. And I thought he had a great game. The first interception, some perfect pass, bounces off the receiver's hands.
It bounced off E.J. Scott's shoulder pads. It was right on the money, and it bounces up into his counterpart, number 4 for Ruston, and picks it and goes the other way with it. So a lot of bad bounces in the first half.
The other two, maybe some ill-advised throws, but I know Coach Bachman will defend his quarterback to the end of the day and says, it's my fault for putting him in that position. So, but I thought they were great defensively against the run. Even though Brantley had 149 yards, he's just a big, strong kid. But I thought they shut down Jordan Haynes very, very well. And I've been saying all year they have to get Jalen Johnson involved. They have to get Jalen Johnson involved, and they did Friday night. They hit him with the big, long touchdown pass, and I think that's going to open up the offense even more.
It will. You'll be able to spread the ball around and not have folks. Local teams that have jumped out at you that you say, you know what, they've got a shot to do something this year.
Well, 2, outside of the area that I want to see with my own eyes are Bunky and Gina. You know, those two, I think if you just look across the landscape, they have a real shot. You know, but Gina's defense, I watched the game against Tioga. Their defense is really, really good. And I hear Bunky's quarterback, Dylan Compton, is supposed to be the real deal. I got a chance to see him in 7-on-7 this summer. I was like, oh, wow, they got a chance. But I hadn't seen him in pads yet. So I want to see him, thinking about going to that Bunky-Gina game to see it. So those two really jump out at me.
Yeah, and Gina beat Marksville 60 to 20 this past week. One of the, as I was looking through all the high school scores, one of the highest scoring games outside of next to Buckeyes' win over Bolton. But yeah, Gina seems to be back where they've been trying to get back to. You know, after a few years out of the spotlight, the Giants do seem to be coming back, and you know, that is one of our Central Louisiana teams, if you will, because you know, whether non-district or district, you know, they're playing a lot in this region.
I mean, what helps them is their best players. Eric Jones is a senior, and he's been starting for 4 years. He's experienced, and he's the guy that you want to put the ball in his hands, and he can really, really make plays. But they're much deeper than him. You know, the Barker kid at quarterback, I thought he threw the ball really well. They got 2 receivers that can make plays, and their defense is very, very good.
And Jay Roark, one of the best coaches in the area, and certainly has the Giants back. So.
Yeah, and the knock on them has been, you know, they've had great regular seasons. Can they get it done in the postseason?
Right.
And I think they have the team on paper that can do that this year.
Well, they've got the fan support. There's no doubt about that. You go to a game at Gina, and it's what you expect to see on Friday night. It's a program, it's an atmosphere, and it's a lot of fun to get down there.
It is. I've had a chance to be there, and it is special. You know, you talked about the atmosphere in Ruston, and that was really fun. And I've been there twice this year, and I'm going back this Friday night. So it's always a fun place to be as well.
Have you had a chance to see Neville yet? I saw that they beat Peabody in the district opener for 2-4A, 51-0.
So that was such a weird game. I actually did. I went back and watched the live stream. Believe it or not, Peabody probably outgained Neville in that game.
Really?
They turned the ball over 6 times in the first half, which all led to Neville's touchdowns.
Wow.
They moved the ball well. Nate Francis ran the ball. Their quarterback, they have 2 good receivers in Dartavian DePass and TJ Ullaby. Peabody has weapons. I really think that Peabody Tioga game is going to be a very good game as long as they can not turn the ball over 7 times, which they did Friday night. So that score, because I wanted to see, they lost 51-0. I wanted to see how that happened, and it was very eye-opening because they moved the ball really well against Neville.
And another one of those perfect times there, Doug, where you just look at the line score and you go 51-0. Boy, they must have crushed them, and that wasn't the case.
That was not the case. In fact, I thought physically they were not going to compare to Neville, but they looked like they belonged on the field with Neville. The turnovers killed them.
Well, that is such great work to see that Peabody team coming along and putting that kind of effort. Hopefully they won't get swayed by the lopsided score, and they will come back and fight, because that does set up such a big game there with Tioga later in the year.
The one thing that jumped out at me, I saw them, they came over and scrimmaged at Tioga. They scrimmaged against East Beauregard. And the knock on Peabody through the years is they have athletes, but they have misalignments and all this stuff. Harry Coleman has fixed all of that.
Absolutely.
They do not have that problem anymore. They look like a real football team. He has them playing well. He's talked all year about we got to cut out the turnovers. Got to cut out the turnovers. That bit on Friday night. But if they can limit the turnovers, they have the playmakers on both sides of the ball to be a really good team.
Billy, what do y'all see in that game as you look ahead and look at some of those? You've got a tough district slate coming up, and that's a team that in the past, I think last year, turned out pretty lopsided on there. But man, you can't look ahead of Franklin Parish by any means, but it's a tough district stacking up for the Indians.
Speaking of that Peabody, when we played Peabody last year at Peabody, it ended up being a little bit larger win, than you think. But if you really watch that game, Peabody and Tioga, it was neck and neck the whole way. Especially that first half, and then Tioga was able to make a few plays to pull away towards the end. But I said it last year during the game that this Peabody team is very, very well coached. You can tell Coach Coleman has set in there and he set a standard and changed that whole mentality. Not saying anything bad about the coaches prior to that, but again, like Brett said, they were very non-disciplined, and now they are, and they come in there and they have a standard. They've always had the fastest. I mean, their running backs are always super quick. They always have. Last year they had that big quarterback coming in, and I don't know if he's ever played quarterback before he came over that way and did a great job. But you could tell that they're very, very well coached. And when I was looking at the schedule, of course, this year, I knew that that's going to be a challenge for this Tioga team, and I'm excited about it. Like, when we get in our district, I know that Pineville has the toughest district in the state without question. I don't think anybody would even question that. And coming into 4A, anytime that you've got to play a Neville every year, whether it's at your place or at Neville. And then Franklin Parish right now, this quarterback that they have is ridiculously good throwing the ball, which I think sets up very well for this Tioga team. If we can get our safeties, our Ja'Cory Norris, our Josh Lloyds, if they cannot get beat over the top, there's going to be a lot of pick sixes or a lot of interceptions or a lot of pass breaks. We're strong in the secondary, and that's what Franklin Parish is really good at throwing the ball. So I'm super excited about this weekend. Plus, it's homecoming week.
There you go. We were up there, so the Ash game was Ruston's homecoming. And, that's what I said. But what a battle that was. Yes.
I found out why, because I asked, no offense, but
right.
Why is it not Pineville week? They're on fall break this week.
I got you.
So they could not have homecoming this week. No offense to Pineville, but I thought that's when they would schedule it. And
offense taken, but go ahead.
But that's why they scheduled Ash as a homecoming opponent, because the kids are out of school all week this week. It's kind of hard to have homecoming. It's fall break.
I don't understand this fall break business.
Fall break.
How do you take a whole week off during the middle of football season? I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Brett McCormick, thank you for joining us. We appreciate the work that you do and the stats that you provide for us almost as soon as the game's over. I don't know how you watch them that quick.
I've gotten texts from him at 2 a.m. in the morning. I didn't see him till I got up. But
I got one late at night too, and I didn't reply back to the next morning. I get up. Look, we raising our grandbaby. Okay, I go to bed at 9 o'clock. So Chuck Perkins, this is for you too. If you text me after 9 o'clock, I'm not responding.
Look,
I'm not even seeing it.
I knew it would be there for you when you woke up the next day.
As long as you're not expecting to respond,
That's right.
we're good.
So thank you.
I'm normally up.
Yeah,
so,
I'm up all night. So.
I don't know that I don't.
Up next.
Yeah, no kidding. Chalk Talk is rolling around. It's going to be right after the break. Don't go anywhere. You are watching Coach Speak right here on 446 Sports.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our mobile app today.
For a lifetime of the best possible vision, look to Wallace Eye Associates, where our tradition of eye care excellence in Cenla spans nearly 40 years. From your next family eye exam to cataract and glaucoma evaluations, trust your vision to the experienced eye professionals at Wallace Eye Associates. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
Time for our red, white, and cool summer event at Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Right now, you can save on a new energy saving system. No money down, 0% interest, and no payments till June 2024. Call Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing or visit us online.
Back to Quebedeaux on a Sunday night, and it is time for our episode of Chalk Talk. That's when we pull out the old chalkboard and go to it and look at what our results were last week, what our standings are for this week, and what our games are upcoming on there. You're looking, I do believe, at the results from last week, and we talked about that. Buckeye had their big 67-0 win. Menard and Tioga both pick up big victories. with some running clock episodes in that. Pineville and Alexandria opened up that tough District 2-5A schedule, and Ash loses a heartbreaker 35-28, and the Rebels of Pineville drop 31-0 in that one. So that's a look at your results. Now, the standings out here. Tioga sits atop at 5-1. Buckeye hanging around in there at 4-2. Coach Ben McLaughlin. It was great when they play a Thursday night game because we're able to sit and visit with Coach Ben a lot. And he's texting me during the game, and it's always great to hear from Coach Ben McLaughlin, head coach of the Buckeye Panthers. Sitting there tied at 3-3, the Trojans of Alexandria, the Eagles of Menard are in there, and then in fifth place stands the Rebels, who have 2 wins, 2-4 on the season for the Pineville Rebels. And again, looking forward to some big district play. They've got, we'll see who all of our squads have upcoming now in our next section of Chalk Talk. And I'll let you work your way down because we cannot see it. Tioga, where are you guys at?
Tioga will have homecoming at home at the reservation against Franklin Parish out of Winsboro. Big matchup for us. This is our district opener. We started, it seems to be a little bit a week later than most, but this is going to be the first game of district for Tioga. Homecoming week, a lot of festivities. Give you a little shout out. Our Thursday night show, which is normally here at Quebedeaux, we're going to be doing from Tioga High School at the Column. So we'll be doing it with the parade going by. We're going to have, you'll have the parade in our background. You'll be able to see that. So our coaches show, the reservation roundup, will be at Tioga High School at the Columns during the parade on Thursday night.
That's a great idea that y'all came up with. That was good stuff.
That's original.
Way to go.
I can't.
Look, getting on campus for that is
y'all have yours before we do. I mean, we can't control that.
That's right.
I can only control what we can control. There sounds
all
like
I can say is we did it last year,
but you not under the umbrella, so it doesn't matter. That's like pre-umbrella stuff, so that doesn't count.
We still did it. So.
You still did it. That's correct. Didn't do it this year, but no, it was and it was great. You got to ride in a parade last year and then hop out and do the show.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That
was good. Before I came to 446.
Right?
So, yes.
Right? So now
I rode in a truck 2 years ago.
You ought to be able to.
Before,
so the generator and the mobile hotspot set up in the back of the float and do it from the float.
That's
and
awesome.
just drive down the. There's you something. When is Menard's homecoming?
2 weeks or not this week, next week.
So the bar is so that would be 2 weeks.
2 weeks, something like that.
What do you do for a living?
October 26th
what is your
is our
profession?
homecoming
What is
parade.
What is your profession?
We'll leave it at that. Getting confused on what date I'm in right now.
That's right. Tell us about what Menard's got this
Menard's
week.
got coming up. We got a Thursday game this week against Avoyelles. This will be our second district game, and both Menard and Avoyelles are now 1-0. Avoyelles coming off a big win against Oakdale, hung 36 on Oakdale,
and Oakdale's sitting there at 4-1, and one of those teams that you thought was going to be the team to beat in the district.
That's right. Yeah, I mean Oakdale had a good record. You look at Avoyelles' records coming in. I mean Avoyelles' records right now 1-5, but don't let that fool you. Their prior 4 games to Oakdale. Turling's Catholic, Eunice, Bunkie, LCA.
Yeah.
Brutal schedule.
Wow.
Avoyelles is a tough team. They're going to bring that double wing. You're going to have to stop it. You know, Andy Boone's not there.
That's left over from that Andy Boone era, though.
It is, yeah. Andy Boone's not there. They're still running the double wing. You're not going to get as much trickery, I don't think, but you're still going to see probably some onside kicks. They will punt a little bit. But, you know, with that double wing, you got to put 8, 9 guys in the box. That running back hits the second level, it can be trouble. So that they like to chew on the clock, so you may not get that many offensive possessions. So both sides of Menard's team, the offense and the defense, going to have to show up this Thursday.
Well, indeed, and they've had a great job of special teams as well. You had a 63-yard punt last week that really flipped the field in that game too, or a couple of weeks ago, actually. That one was. Is anybody more excited than David Perkins going on over there at Menard right now?
I tell you what, it's the attitude has changed this year for sure. And coming up, you know, we're 3-3 right now, 1-0 in district. Had some tough games early in the season, and the kids are loving it right now, and the attitude is great at Menard High School right now.
Well, there you have it. Just to interject this, Buckeye goes to Bunkie to play that game, I believe. It's Bunkie comes to Buckeye? Okay. Bunkie comes
It was one or the other.
That's what I get for look. I'm watching. Yeah, I'm watching both sets of charades here from and seeing what we get. But that's going to be a big matchup, and Coach Ben is certainly excited about that. I know that. that you've had a lot of conversations with Coach McLaughlin through the years, and this type of the kids need to play in these type of big games.
Well, and he is the best person for that job, and he's brought enthusiasm, he's brought knowledge, he's brought, of course, the fundraising opportunities that they've had, and he's just a first-class guy, and certainly happy that that Buckeye is getting that opportunity for his first head coaching position to be a Panther, and he's embraced that, and they've embraced him.
What do the Rebels have this week?
Rebels will travel up for Friday the 13th to Ruston and play the Bearcats there at Ruston. So I'm counting on a detailed briefing from my play-by-play fellow here next to me who was there last week.
They're big, fast, strong, and athletic. So that's
and he's not talking about the chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, those are amazing. Those are phenomenal.
That's what I was talking about.
No, they'll be. And so your booth is right by where the food is too, so you don't have to go. And the door next.
Put your glasses on.
I've got it. Yeah, this is one of those things. If you're ever in the need for a design to a press box, look at Ruston. Right next to the booth is the restroom. No going downstairs, no coming upstairs. The restroom is right there. The cookies and the sodas are there. The pizza and the canes is there. And, oh, yeah, the football game's not that bad either.
Well, that's where we'll be taking on the Bearcats on Friday the 13th.
Trojans face Friday the 13th. They're back home and hoping to get off the Schneids. 2 years ago, we covered it through a different group and made a bet with the play-by-play guy from Ouachita, our buddy Mike Downhour, that the winner of the game would have to call next year's game in that team's jersey. And so I called the entire game last year at Ruston in a Ouachita Lions uniform jersey top. I didn't know they made them as small. It was snug on me. I don't know. I think it was, and it was a big high number too. I thought it was a kicker's number, but it was it was in my book. And so we doubled or nothing, and Ouachita won that game as well. So I'm hoping that he doesn't come up here and pay off on that one, but I am prepared. You remember you're on our umbrella, so that's remember who works for you.
Paid yet.
Remember who works for you.
Yeah, but
so. From them either, that's a whole other thing. So, no, we have the Ouachita Lions, and coming in, you don't know which Ouachita that you'll get in that one. Ouachita's won some games big. They've lost some games big. But no matter what, anytime you get in there, it's a spirited game. So the Trojans will welcome in the Lions of Ouachita on Friday the 13th. So that's a look at our upcoming schedule that's there.
So coming up this week as well, our coaches' shows beginning down on the far end. When, where, and what time?
Yeah, Thursday night. We're going to move it from here at Quebedeaux, which we normally have. It's going to be at Tioga High School for homecoming. So we'll have the parade. We're going to have a couple special guests. We got the principal, of course, of Tioga is going to come in there and talk to us a little bit, talk to Coach Cook.
Brand new principal this year, Ben Arrington.
Yep, Ben Arrington. New to being the principal, but not new to Tioga, of course.
Nor new to being principaling either, because he was principal there for a stint at Ash.
Yeah, and so it should be a fun night Thursday night. We're going to have all the festivities, and I told everybody who if they would throw me some Tootsie Rolls, they can get some live mentions on there. I just want Tootsie Rolls.
Huh.
Tootsie Rolls.
We'll have to take that under advisement. John?
Well, on Wednesday night, may not have Tootsie Rolls, but we'll have pizza at Wildwood Pizza at 7 o'clock, and Mr. Boucher will be back hosting with Coach Perkins and Coach Scully getting ready for our Thursday game in the Bulls. And, Doug, how was it last week?
Bring a light, Tom. Bring a light. We had one out there, and it lit up. But the crowd that's out there for that game, and it's great getting into these different shows that we're able to. And I may make it out to I won't make it out to the reservation this week because we've got a little meeting at 6 o'clock. So I won't be out there at that one. But able to get around to these different ones and visit with everybody is good. So it's a great time out at Wildwood Pizza.
Folks come out, students come out, parents come out. Great support and good time by all.
You catch the Thomas Bachman Show live from Walk-Ons. It's 7 o'clock Thursday night. I always have a big crowd. I think this will be our first opportunity to be outside this week. It rained Thursday, so that moved us back inside. We use that little interior room that's down, they call it their patio. And so we'll try to move outside this week. It'll be a good one. Then you guys.
We'll be at Jim Deggy's Pizza on Highway 28 East. Look forward to that. 6 p.m. We're the warm-up before the 7 p.m. show.
Right.
So, look forward to that 6 o'clock with Coach Bell, Nathan Martin, and myself. And had a great crowd last Thursday, hoping for the same this week before we go to Ruston on Friday night.
Well, should be a lot of fun. Football is it's going down to the wire. District is everyone will be in their district games. The only one that changes from here on out is Menard, who takes week 10 not off, but they step out of district play. That's always that game against Glen Oaks. Yeah, and they come up here this year
to our home this year.
That's right. So congratulations to all our Southern Air Cool Play of the Game winners and also our Quebedeaux Players of the Week. It's time to start crunching things down to see who is going to be our individual Players of the Year before we get into our Quebedeaux Player of the Year and our end-of-the-year banquet. So stick around for a word on that. If you just like watching high school football, go back and watch the other games. All of the broadcasts are up. They stay up immediately after the game's over. If there are any glitches in the middle, we record all of them, so we update the recordings, and you're able to watch them in their entirety. But one last word as we go along, Billy.
Hey, super fun night. We're super excited about about our homecoming going in, and so as soon as we get a big win this weekend, we're looking good for district. I'm pretty excited.
John?
Yeah, big district game coming up on Avoyelles right now. It's both 1-0. Going to be a classic.
It's going to be a good one, my man, Rich.
Friday the 13th. What will it bring? We're hoping for an upset in Ruston.
Going to be a big one. We'll be watching for that one, too. That should be a lot of fun. And for the Trojans, 35-20, they beat Ouachita. You heard it here first. For my man Chuck Perkins, Rich Dupree, John Wolf, Billy French, Brett McCormick made it in. And I see Primetime out there. Lamar Gafford over there joining us over there. Appreciate him coming out and being part of our live studio audience. It's a live studio audience because he's here. Otherwise, it was just all of us that were on the show. You're working, so it doesn't count as that. It's been fun. We've got a lot of fun to go before we get out of here for this year, but that's going to do it for us tonight. For everyone involved in that, I am Doug Gann. God bless you all, and good night.